Hello everyone and welcome to an Opposition View with Scott from All Leeds TV. We're here to take a look at the upcoming fixture on Sunday as West Ham United host Leeds United for the second time in just the space of a week after our victory in the FA Cup. Scott, let's start with your team. Let's start with Leeds. What are you thinking? How's your season going?
Could be better, could be worse. I suppose there's various ways to look at it. I think after how we performed last season, our first year back to the top flight in 2 decades, basically. Some would say we overachieved, we overperformed. Others saying we just caught everyone off guard. I think this season we have just been unfortunate. We had the win knocked out of us in our opening game, and that kind of knocked the confidence, I think. And then with a couple of games where we threw away points, a draw with Newcastle when we were leading, the defeat to use at Elland Road as well. I don't want to go into that one too much, but I think that's one that on that day, the way we played, we deserved to win, at the very least a point. The draw with Everton as well, should have won, should have beat Wolves, and that's what this season for us has ended up being. A lot of should-haves and could-haves. And again, open up my glasses off. A lot of it's coming down to a severely bad injury crisis. The likes, which I'll be honest, I don't think anyone in the Premier League has ever had to deal with the amount of first-team injuries that we are currently dealing with. I've been out of the loop of the Premier League for 20 years. But I from my memory, growing up in the 90s even, I don't remember any team literally having 10 first-choice players injured for most of the season.
Possibly last season, Leicester had a lot of injuries. I'm going to look that up now and message you and let you know if I'm right or not. That injury list you've got, is that bad luck, or is that a correlation because of your style and the way that manager makes you play? Is that just something that you've got to put up with?
That's a question that a lot of people have been trying to answer, and I could only surmise and give my opinion on it. And I think, yes, I think a lot of that comes down to our high-intensity training, the level at which we play or try to play, and then the ability of the players trying to perform like that. Maybe some of our players just aren't at that level where they should be playing. Maybe I am completely wrong, and maybe it's just been absolute sheer bad luck.
What about your manager? Because I think Bielsa's becoming fashionable. I find going through social media and that, yes, I know that old virtue of information, but Bielsa's he's a bit like he splits opinion, I find a lot of people love him and love the way he goes about stuff. I'm speaking from neutrals here rather than Leeds' standpoint, obviously. But I think there's another side of it that feel that Bielsa gets too much praise and credit. And it's a bit like whenever Leeds win, I often see comments, oh, there's that famous Bielsa thing again kind of thing. What do you make of how he's done at Leeds? I mean, for a guy that doesn't really speak, there's a lot spoken about him.
Well, put it this way. I've got some signed binoculars. I've got 2 statues of Bielsa.
Statues? That's a gnome. That's not a statue.
Listen, here, that's a statue for a shed.
That's a gnome.
I know, but still.
A statue.
And I've also got a tattoo of Bielsa as well. So, for me, the guy is, I wouldn't say he's on par with Don Revie, the greatest manager we ever had, but he's certainly one of the best managers we've ever had. It's what people aren't seeing is what he's actually done for the club. He's brought us an identity back. He's brought a whole culture. We've got a style of playing. That's annoying me that I've knocked my flag aside there. But he's just changed the way we look at football. And yes, whenever we win, Bielsa's the greatest manager around. We all love it. Whenever we lose, Bielsa's still the greatest manager around. It just didn't work on the day. And you're saying about a guy that doesn't speak that much as well. What I want to point out is Bielsa does actually speak English. A lot of people don't know this. He speaks English to the players. See, if you watch him before the match kicks off as well, he goes up and he speaks to the opposing team's manager. Bielsa refuses to speak directly to the media. You see, he doesn't even look at them. And he said it in different, you know, he used to do all them speeches and forums and whatever. He's actually said it those that he refuses to speak to the media because they can twist what you're saying and the meaning of what you're saying. So I have to give him respect for that there. He hasn't bowed to the whims of the Premier League demands, and he stayed true to himself.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I quite agree with him, to be honest with you. I can understand why he doesn't speak to the media, and I think David Moyes probably wishes you could get a Scottish interpreter in for him so he can do the talking. So Moyes can say, "Oh, it was a difficult match today." So the guy goes, "It was a difficult game today." I think Moyes would prefer. Moyes would like something similar as well if he could. But I completely agree. Do you have any worries? Just quickly, do you have any worries about Bielsa's lack of long-term longevity at clubs previous? He seems to go in, have a couple of years, if you like, and then move on to another project. Or are you hoping that this project you've got at Leeds is the one that Bielsa nails his colours to the mast and almost creates a home, if you like?
I think Bielsa's now been with us longer than he's been at any other club. And as far as we are aware, the whole long-term 5-year plan that Radrizzani had when Bielsa came in was based around Bielsa being here for that 5-year term. Now, Bielsa's in his 4th year with us. I think, now I've said this a few times, a few weeks ago I thought he might walk. I really did. A few weeks ago, just before Christmas, I just thought he's going to walk. But then you've seen his reaction to that win against Burnley. That 3rd goal, whenever Dan James scored, you know, it just, for me, that just showed the passion that you don't see all the time. He was crying. I was crying. Everyone was crying. You know, not saying it felt like we won the league, but when you see your manager react like that and then go into the post-match and be so composed and staying the same man that he's always been, I think we have got another year in Bielsa, and then I would imagine he's probably going to take some sort of backseat role, like a joint director of football with Victor Orta or something. I think Bielsa will always be part of this club, no matter what. I just hope when he does go that it's not in a bad way. I don't want them going because we've got relegated and the team's worse than it was and all this here. You know, he's the guy that done within 2 seasons. He nearly done it in 1 season what numerous managers tried to do for decades, and he brought us back to the top flight. So I would like to think he's going to be here for another year or 2. But my main concern is that with Bielsa and the style of play that Bielsa brings, you have to accept a small squad. And that is something that a lot of us Leeds fans at the minute are struggling to accept because of the injury crisis.
Good man. Now, we'll really talk about West Ham, get Scott's view on West Ham and how he sees Sunday going. But before we do, just point in the direction of our sponsors, the One Football app. It's completely free and it's the best football app for the football fans. Doesn't matter if you're West Ham or Leeds United, you can keep up to date with all the injuries going on at Leeds, all the lack of transfer activity at Leeds United so far in January, and also all the lack of transfer activity at West Ham United. But that doesn't stop the rumours. There's plenty of transfer rumours. West Ham have been linked to Gary Gold once again. The link is in the description and pinned comments of this video. Get downloaded to your phone today. And when you select your favourite team on Sunday, 1 hour before kickoff, you get a notification on your phone. It says lineups announced. You click on it, it tells you the starting 11s for both teams, as well as information where each player is playing as well. Fantastic app and completely free. Right, Scott, West Ham. What do you make of West Ham? What are you thinking about West Ham? Give us your summary, your overview of the Hammers.
West Ham. Now, I have a friend who, well, it's not a friend. My wife has a friend whose husband supports Man United, but his whole family are West Ham. Now, I know a few West Ham fans, but I remember one night him telling me that, now this was our first year back in the Premier League, he believed West Ham were a 15th position side, and he had told me that if he didn't think Leeds were better than West Ham, we would never stay up. My reply to him was, David Moyes will turn West Ham into a European challenging side, and he laughed at me. I still maintain that. I think Fergie, whenever he picked Moyes as his successor, was premature in saying that, you know, he was going to be a great manager. I think he's seen the greatness that Moyes has, and I think Moyes is probably going to go down in the history books as one of the greatest West Ham managers. I do believe West Ham are going to be challenging for the Champions League this year, 100%. I think they might even get in. I really do. And again, not a big six side. I want them to get in. We're not going to be there anytime soon. So for any team that's not a big six, I want them to take that spot. Using Leicester for me, I want to see yous up there taking spots away from, you know, scum, Chelsea scum, Arsenal scum, Tottenham hot scum, and Manchester City, but nobody supports them anyway. And of course, the crying Germans, liver scum. You know, I want to see those spots coming away from them. I want to see them try and claim that they're a big six side whenever West Ham are walking away with trophies and getting into Europe over them. You know, I've said it before, West Ham's beat us in the FA Cup now. I would love to see West Ham go on and win the FA Cup. I would love to see West Ham get in the Champions League. And I think they certainly will do it. What I'm shocked at, I'll be honest, is they just haven't signed Jesse Lingard. That's, for me, I thought he was going to be sure as chocolate pudding going to be signing for you in the summer, and he didn't. And now I'm going, well, January's here. Is this something that you are interested in? Are you even looking at Lingard again?
We don't know. I think West Ham fans think the same as you. Well, then we were all expecting to make a move for him as well. And for whatever reason, it's not happened. I believe, and this is me, I'm happy to put my neck on the line and say that I think Jesse would come back to West Ham if West Ham made a serious move for him. But I think there's one or two things that need sorted out between Jesse and West Ham United. And it's not as straightforward as some people think. But if West Ham want to make it happen, I think they can make it happen. The question is, money, I guess, at the end of the day. Man, you're not going to just give them to us. So I think we've got to deal with that. Is it good value? And Moyes might be thinking, do we need him at the minute? You know, we've signed Vlasic instead, and he's not a direct replacement or a similar player to Lingard, but he still occupies the same positions on the pitch to some extent. Despite Kutinsky coming in, we've still got a limited budget for January and for the summer coming up. Can Moyes justify spending that much on there when we've only got one striker, and that's Antonio, and he wasn't even a striker 3 seasons ago? So money could be spent better elsewhere, I guess. But I think West Ham fans are a bit like yourself, Scott, which is, sure, we're going to get Jesse, and then it just didn't happen. Oh, January, surely we're going to get him. It's only 6 months ago in his contract, and we're waiting to see. 2 weeks of the window left. We're waiting to see. Man United want to cash in on him. They're going to have to do it now.
Yeah.
And we're probably the front runners. We've got to be the favourites. I'd like to think we're playing a game of chicken with Man U, which is we'll wait till the final days of the window approach and basically say to Man United, either you take our offer of £8 million or whatever, or he walks for free in the summer. Yeah. So we're signing him one way or another. Do you want 8 million or do you not want 8 million is the question. Yeah. But we also play Man U on the 22nd of January. I do wonder if we're waiting for that fixture to be
over before making the deal. Yeah.
Yes. Because the last thing Man U want is to sell us Lingard, and we rock up at Old Trafford, and Lingard puts in a man-match performance. And essentially, we are rivals for fourth at the minute.
Yeah.
So
I hope you get him on the free. I don't want just giving money to the scum.
I feel you don't like that, man. You. Any West Ham player wise, so is there anyone you sort of admire / fear on Sunday?
The whole team at the minute, because they're playing brilliant. Jared Bowen was dangerous whenever he played for Hull, wasn't it? Against us in the Championship. Always dangerous. Ben Rama, for me, I'm always afraid of Ben Rama, but thankfully he's not playing. But I say thankfully, there's still other players there that cause problems. Souček is a consistent midfield sort of general. I'd like to describe him as he's very, very commanding in that area. Lanzini has really, he's looking really good at the minute. I thought he looked good against us on Sunday. And there's no point even talking about Declan Rice. He's your Calvin Phillips. You know, he's fantastic. And Antonio my problem with Antonio is one thing. He should have been sent off against us at Elland Road, and then he went and scored the winning goal. So that was my problem with Antonio. But what's done is done. Your whole team, even if it's a weekend side, they're experienced in the Premier League for years. You know, they've played top flight football. Some of them, yes, they've only came from a lower league or whatever, but they've had that ability to step up. A lot of Leeds players, even you look at, Junior Firpo was pretty much our flagship signing of the summer, really, and he was sitting on the bench at Barcelona for years. So for him to come straight into us and be first choice left back, you're starting at the top flight of England, and the Premier League, one of the toughest leagues in the world. There's been a lot expected from our players, and when you put them up against a team like West Ham, who have that experience and ability, I couldn't pinpoint one single player to say he fears me the most.
How do you see Sunday going?
Well, as I've said before, I don't like to say, my own team's going to get beat. But what I'll say is, if everyone that plays to the best of their ability, we have a chance of winning. Now, that's a very big if, considering we've got so many players that would make a difference in the match out. There are rumours that Bamford and Rodrigo will be back. I hope, if they are fit to play, that they don't play, because knowing our luck, they'll play, they'll get injured, and then they miss the games that we need to be winning. For me, this is a match that we need to just get it over and done with.
Just to interrupt you, because this will be an interesting way. Not so much this season, but maybe last season and the year before, we used to look at the Manchester clubs in Liverpool, and we, as West Ham fans, would call them bonus points. It's games you're not expected to win. You get them happy days, you move on. Do you, as a Leeds fan, do you see West Ham as a bonus points team now?
100%. 100%. The way you're playing, you're challenging for Champions League. We need to get more points to stay away from that bottom. Let's be honest, Newcastle are going to be buying more players before this window. They're going to buy enough that they should be safe. We do not have that luxury. Bielsa does not like January transfer windows. If anything, we will loan someone in. I don't see us buying anyone. We bought Kiko in a January window, and that didn't work out. We're saying John Kevin Augustine in the January window on loan with an option to buy, and that court case is still going on. I think because of past experiences, we have been burnt in January and we won't buy. Do we need to buy? As a fan, yeah, I want to see names through that door. I want to see someone through that door. As a fan, my ideal signing, I said last night on our social club, and I've been saying it for weeks, we need to sign Kelvin Yeboah. Tony Yeboah's nephew, he was tearing it up in Austria, but he's now just went and signed for Genoa. So that pipe dream's out the window. But I don't see us signing anyone. West Ham is a bonus points team for me right now. It really is. For me, there's Man City, Liverpool, Man United, hate to say it, Chelsea scum, and you guys, for me right now, are bonus points. Spurs, arguably, but Spurs aren't that great. Arsenal have started to play well, but yous are definitely in that category for me of you're a bonus points team for us now.
It's possibly the biggest compliment you can give us in a way. I think it just said you're saying we see you as one of the big teams in the Premier League now. Let's wrap it up then with your score prediction, Scott. What are you going for? What are you saying?
If everyone does their job well for us, I'd say we can win 1-0. I will happily take a draw, but I won't be surprised if we get stuffed. So I'm gonna stick it on the record to say it's going to be 0-0.
Brilliant. I did a conversation with Scott for the All Leeds TV as well. The link to that video will be in the description of this video. It's a different conversation. Obviously, we speak about some things twice, but it's a longer conversation. It was touch on the likes of Newcastle and that as well. So if you want to go look at it, the link is in the description to the video. But Scott, thank you very much. Enjoy Sunday, but not too much, will you? And best of luck for the rest of the season.
Yes, you too. And I hope you get Champions League.
Hopefully, brilliant. If you've enjoyed this Opposition View, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Myself and Gonzo will be back tomorrow with our preview of the Leeds game. Catch you in a bit.